Welcome to the summit, What is Already Everything? And I can introduce you to May Long. Welcome.
Thank you, Susan. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, and thank you for being here. And you're a non-duality speaker. And yeah, you express what it is to be, you could say that the me has fallen away. And there is what is, and which is also everything. And so that's what we'll be talking about. And yeah, how, I know it's hard to express it, but how would you express the what is?
What is, like you just said, is everything, to express it in words, verbalize it is it, and not express it verbally is also it. So it's just everything. Everything is the room, the sitting here, having this chat with you, having this interview. That is just all inclusive. Just nothing is excluded.
Yeah. So it's literally what is happening as is happening.
Yes, that is also what is happening, but without knowing in this what is happening, there is no center inside of what is happening, and there is no extra, no knower or experiencer which is outside of what is happening. So what is happening is unknown, is unknowable. There is no separate knower or experiencer of what is, or of what is happening. So what is happening is always unknowable.
Yeah. And so living as that, this unknown, and everything is unknown, it sounds so like, how do you live?
It sounds, for the individual, sounds scary. But the thing is, there isn't anyone who is living in what is. There is no center which is living in what is. There is only what is, without the center. Without the center, without this control from the center. What is just uncaused. It happens without any reason. There is no center living in what is.
Yeah.
So nobody is living in, I'm not living in what is. There's only what is. The one who is living in that sense of I am living in my life, this center, this is totally elusive. That is the message, that is this message about pointing to that center is absolutely elusive.
And so when you live from that center, that is an illusion.
Yes.
You can live a whole life like that. But the illusion is also what's happening. So you could say whatever happens is always what is.
Yes. It's this sense of I'm living. This sense of I am it feels absolutely real. Experientially, it's like reality for this center, for this elusive center, which doesn't really exist. However, what apparently happens is this sense of me being real. That is also what seemingly happens. Without reason. And it is not a real happening. Even it feels absolutely real for the individual. That is such a paradox, because something never really exists, feels actually real.
And when you when you live as that, as if you have that center and it feels very real, this me, this person who lives a life,
Yes.
then how does that fall away? Like in your case, what happened?
Yes, in my story, what happened was, some years ago, maybe 5 years ago, I came across Muji's message, and by watching one of his short videos, what happened was this awakening experience, happened all of a sudden, which I had no idea of. I didn't know what happened, but there was this experience of awakening, and from that moment on, I became a spiritual seeker, so to speak, because that experience was wonderful. It was totally like like a sky suddenly opened up. It felt like in another dimension. It was blissful. It was just, and then from that moment, I got the idea. So this is awakening and sort of enlightenment. And I wanted, of course, to be like this, to keep this, because after some while, that wonderful experience was gone, and I wanted to go back. And so I started following Muji's teaching. And then, so that time, my dream was to be enlightened. It's like enlightened is something you could reach. If you are devoted enough, you follow the right guru, then one day you will be enlightened. That was that moment, the conviction. So I went full on, in my searching, and but after some years, maybe 3-4 years, I was 100% devoted, but somehow it just didn't work. I mean, it didn't work. It meant I could never have that experience back again. Never. That, just couldn't explain that. I always felt there was a me here, and that was, me and enlightenment. There's no matter how hard I was trying, how desperately I was trying, I could never reach there. So I just kind of gave up because it's unapproachable. It's like impossible to get it. And then later I heard, I bumped into Tony's message, and what he said totally struck me. What he said was this: all there is what apparently happens. I was like stunned by this, just by listening to this. And then I was hooked to this message. And then later I went also to Andreas meeting, and online and also physical meetings. That's, the last 3 years. And then in the story that this elusive center, what happened is it seemed that it was fading away.
Yeah, and sometimes I hear it can happen very abruptly, and other times maybe it's more of a transition. But that's kind of a story too, though, right? It's like, because also there's nothing you can do about it. You cannot make the me fall away. You cannot.
No.
It just is like this energy, this contraction that suddenly, for whatever reason or no reason, can poof or just not be there suddenly.
Yes. In a story, it had to do with listening to this message in the story of me, listening to Tony's message, to Tony's talks and Andreas, and even now I still, I'm from the very beginning, I was like immediately in love with this message. Even till now, I still enjoy listening to Andreas' talks.
Yeah, and so when it is that center is not there for you anymore, and how is life different? Did your life change? Did your environment change or what?
Yes, in a funny way, you know, this center for me in the story, what I could remember was there was always a sense of separation. You know, like I am doing this and the life is outside there, you know, me doing here, my family, my, you know, all of, it's always this sense of separation. You know, I'm separated. I'm separate from the world, from the society, from the life. So that was really, that was suffering. That was really all what happened was happened to me. And that was, you know, for me, that was the suffering. And what happened later, apparently this center in the story dropped, the center dropped. How it felt was, I cannot say there's really a difference, because what turned out is that center, that sense of separation was never real. Even I could remember it felt so real, but so it wasn't real. So I could not really tell you, oh, there was a difference, you know, how I felt then, how I feel now, because that, so that sounds a bit strange. I couldn't, also in my life, there isn't a real big difference. Like I still doing the same job and I still enjoy my work just as I always did.
So it doesn't necessarily, nothing really changes, but that feeling of being separate disappears, or that sense of being a separate person just.
Yes, apparently that sense of being separated, you know, being separate from life, that seems isn't there anymore, seems to be gone. But I can't, you know, really tell you, oh, it feels different, because the one who can feel different isn't there anymore. That is, so I can't really make a report of how it feels now, how it felt then, you know. What I could remember, I can remember, is that sense of separation. That is somehow not here.
Yeah, and I can imagine it must be very nice to live life and not have that kind of me and the world, and always feeling like,
yeah, being separate.
Yeah.
Yes, that is really, that is a suffering. But then it turns out that suffering is totally illusion. You know, it's not I get over it, like you know, I remove it, but it turns out it was never there. It was totally empty. No one is in this suffering.
Yeah, empty.
No one was ever in it, experiencing suffering. And so there's also no one here experiencing, there's no suffering.
Yeah, and yet there's no suffering, because there's no one there to experience suffering. Yet suffering does happen too, like pain happens.
Yes, that's different. Yes, pain, both physical pain can still arise. Yes, headache, you know, any pain, physical pain is still there, but no one's suffering. No one is suffering it. Still sadness could still be there, you know, but there's just sadness. No one is inside of this sadness to suffer it. It's just sadness, just tearing, you know.
Yeah. And that's non-dual, right? Because it's not like there's someone and then suffering, or
yes. The duality is there is this sadness, and I am having this sadness, and I'm having this anger, and it doesn't feel good, and I want to get rid of this anger or fear or sadness. Then I would feel happy again. So this me and sadness, me and happiness, that is separation, that is duality.
So in my case, for example, what can I want to be like you. Let's say I don't want this me and this sense of being separate, and because it sounds so wonderful somehow. It sounds very free, and it's reality that there's actually no one in here or in you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There isn't anyone here, me in me, and there is no one in you. And it's just speaking to each other without any me involves. There's in the whole world, apparent world, there's never a single me involves in anything which is happening. So you said, I wish I could be like you, but there is no you who could be like me. There is no me, there's no you in already unconditionally.
Yeah, and that's why it's cannot be understood, because, or you cannot find it because it already is, right? It's already everything.
Already know me, already know me. Or there is just what is, room, lamp, mirror, glasses, mobile. It's just without anyone in it. What is happening is also just without anyone in it.
So there's no meaning and purpose in a way. If it's just what is, then whatever meaning I make about life or is just a story that comes from the me.
Yes, for life to have a meaning, it has to be something separate from life to give life a meaning. No, it is already immediately is duality, because what life is just what apparently happens. And outside of what is happening, this elusive sense of me being here, it gives all the meanings. So to give meaning, for things to have any meaning, it has to be separate from what is. So, but this separation never exists. So there's only what is. It cannot know any meaning of itself because it is not separate.
Yeah, and that's also why there's nobody actually here making choices that has a free will, or because again, that would be as if someone here can make a choice.
Yes, someone separate. Yes, someone separate from choice, to make any choice. Making choice is just, the apparent choice is just what happens seemingly. No one is doing that. In making choice, no, there is no center. It's just making choice happens to no one,
Yeah, and it just feels so much like I make choices every day.
Yes, for the individual, it feels heavy. It's, there's such a sense of responsibility, this heaviness, because if I have to make choice, I have to make the right choice. What about if it's wrong choice? It's so heavy. It's yeah.
Yes, I can imagine how light and free it would be to just
light and free, but no one is experiencing this so-called lightness and freedom, because it happens also not being able to make a choice, just don't know what to choose. It is also freedom, not knowing what to choose. Making choice can happen, but not being able to make any choice can also happen, and that is freedom. So it's not like, oh, there's no me, then there is just a choice, kind of just, then you know how to choose without this me. But it happens also not knowing what to choose.
Yeah, it's like life lives itself.
Yes, in a way, yes, it is. life, whatever. Life is just what is. Life is what is.
And what is, how that comes about and how this appearance happens and all that, that's unknowable. It's the mystery.
Absolutely unknowable. Yes, yes. And it happens, what is for no one. Is for no one. It doesn't serve any meaning. It has no goal. It has no purpose. It's just what is. Totally free, but no one is, no one is tasting this freedom, because there is never anyone separate from what is. There's only what is.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is all, it's everything.
Yes, it is everything. And at simultaneously, it is no thing.
Yeah. So it's both, it's everything, which is at the same time.
Yes. Just no one knows what is. No one knows what is real, what is unreal. It's just unknowable, totally unknowable. And that is a natural reality.
Yeah, and nobody ever in history has known this, can know this. It's always been unknowable.
Yes, history is also the story. History is a story for the me. Yes, history is real because me, history comes with this sense of me. Me, I'm born. I was born in time and space. So I'm real. Time and space automatically are real. And then the history and present and future. So they all come in one, it's one big package.
Yeah, and time and space, because
history, yes, future.
Yeah.
But there is never this me, this individual. So history in a story it exists only in the story. It happens, but never really happens.
Yeah, I often hear the analogy also with dreams, how dreams seem to be happening as you're dreaming and you wake up and it didn't happen, right?
Yes, the story in the dream never really happened.
And it's kind of like that in life too. It's real and unreal at the same time.
Yes,
I can see
real. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's real and unreal at the same time, but no one knows this. That everything is real and unreal. No one knows that. Cannot be known. There isn't a separate position, separate, or to know life is real and unreal. There's this just unknowable. Even this all is known, it all is unreal and real simultaneously. This is not knowledge. It's not kind of insight. Someone could get it.
Yeah, it's not like knowledge about all kind of things, how to build some machinery or how to cook a meal or how to do a job. It's not that kind of knowledge. It's not knowledge, and it's very useful knowledge in a life that just happens. But yes, you cannot know the mystery. You cannot know.
Yes, yeah. And even this, this skills in our daily life we do to cook or do certain things, all those things, no one there to learn all these skills. Somehow learning skills happens, but without anyone in it, And that is really amazing. Like moving my fingers or scratching the head, just moving of the body, or running or sitting and talking, drinking some water. All this happening is happening to no one, as nobody is doing all of this. And that is totally wonder, because no one is doing this, no one is speaking, and we are having apparently a dialogue, but just dialogue. It's two people talking to each other, and that's all.
Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Wow.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this dialogue.
Me too. Thank you very much.
What's your website for people? How can people get in touch with you?
Oh yes, I have a website which is www.unconditionalwholeness.com. And recently I started doing English Zoom meetings. Basically, I would do it regularly on each Monday evening, which is Central European time. I'm living in the Netherlands, so at least that I'm planning to do it weekly.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. Yes.